Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Hill. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Hill and D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending. Now, I'm your host, D Squared, along with
Brian Held.
How are you, Buckaroo?
Oh, man, just another busy weekend. We were at the Baby Cakes game on Friday night doing Star Wars night.
Yes, I got there late, and you were already gone. You suck.
Well, I'm sorry, but I had a studio recording session on a secret project that I'm working on.
Oh, I'm a secret project.
Yeah.
Secret agent, man. All right, whatever. I don't like you anymore.
Uh-huh. But, part of that project, I happened to be at the COD Secret Lab, and Louis Diamond gave me a couple of tickets because the Consortium of Genius will be playing at Tip and Tina's this Thursday, and we're going to give those tickets away at the end of the segment.
But, he's going to try to, brainwash people, though. I mean, he's an evil scientist.
Well, but he's just trying to spread, his evil master plan throughout the world, I think,
Is that what he's doing?
I guess.
All right, let's lay out the show, Brian. We'll open up with top nerd news, and we fired Skungy's ass. He's gone. He's out of here.
Well, he's at a bunch of breweries up in Chicago.
Yeah, he was at the Cubs game. The Cubs won, so good on us.
All right, that's cool. Wait, why did he bring his curse to break things to them?
I don't know. Apparently not. He only works here.
All right, and then we have a guest in studio, Mr. Daniel Jose Older, and he's an author. He's going to be talking about all the cool things that he's been working on, and then we'll close out the show as we always do with This Week in Geek History.
But first... And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. Oh, God, Brian, that sounds so much better now. I've gotten used to the old top nerd news sounder.
All right, well, good.
Where I sounded weird. I mean, the old-timey guy sounded weird.
All right, that's fair.
All right. What's topping us off tonight, bud?
All right, you sent me this earlier. Star Wars finally reveals Darth Vader's real father. And it's
who's your daddy?
Right. Well, this came out in the Darth Vader number 25.
So it does contain spoilers for any of our listeners who actually read that series.
Yeah, but this is the comic book series, and it is canon.
It is.
Yes.
It is absolutely canon. So should we like do a drum roll or something? I don't really know.
How
about that? Is that good enough?
That's good enough. All right. So Palpatine is Vader's father.
Him and Shmi hooked up?
No.
Shmi and Palps?
No.
What is Palpatine's stupid first name?
Oh,
it's so horrible.
I don't even remember.
It's not Poindexter, but it's close.
Sheev?
Sheev, that's it. Sheev and Shmi. Oh my God, I want to ship Shmeev. Shmeev. Shmeev.
That's terrible.
That is terrible. Did no one proofread this before they let Shmeev become a thing?
So look, in the first movie, Qui-Gon, said he believed that Anakin was conceived by midichlorians.
Those little midichlorian things that they just made up, right?
Right, but in Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine said the dark side could influence the midichlorians to create life.
And for those crafty people who thought he was just trying to lure him away, he was going to make Anakin think that he could save Padme's life. Lies!
Yes.
Lies. It was all Shmeev.
He used the dark side of the Force to get Shmi to conceive Anakin. So, and if you think about it for a second, father and son did rule a galaxy for a short period of time, right?
They did. Yeah. I guess. Yes.
It's like I don't even know how I feel about this.
I don't know either, but I mean, look, that's why we heard the cackle in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, he's coming back.
They're bringing it all full circle, and dude, I love it. I love getting Palpatine back. I'm not saying his first name anymore.
All right,
that's horrible.
It is horrible.
All right, you know what is not horrible, Brian?
What?
The Stranger Things trailer. A new trailer dropped.
Oh yeah.
And so now I forgot the D-bag brother's name. The little redheaded girl, her brother, who was just like a raging D-bag. So it looks like, here, take a listen.
You let us in. And now, you are going to have to let us stay.
Doesn't make sense. I closed the gate.
What if he never left? What if we locked him out here with us? He'd want to attach himself to someone again. A new host.
It's building something.
No matter what happens, we have to stop him. Together.
Now it's time. We're going to end you. We're going to end your friends. And we are going to end everyone.
This is decidedly darker than the 80s little, we're all in the mall and we're doing, jazzercise.
Well, I mean, the first two were pretty dark.
No, they were. So, I mean, I think everybody who's watched the series kind of knows, but now his name's Billy Hargrove. That's Max's brother. Max is the new girl and the new guy they added last season. He's like just a total jerk, Right. So he apparently is going to be the new host. So Eleven closed the portal or whatever. So apparently it got trapped on this side. So that's a cool way to kind of keep this thing alive, and it's not kind of like, oh, it tears a hole through reality again. So I kind of like, at least it's a little bit of a twist on just, we need to make up a third season. What do we do?
I think it's going to up the ante, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see it.
It doesn't feel forced, and I think that anytime you have like a sequel or a continuation of a series, when they're trying to just kind of keep pumping the bank, trying to get that last penny out of a product, then it's just like, stop jumping the shark,
Right.
But I don't know, Supernatural's jumped the shark like 5 times already, and they keep coming back stronger.
Well, not anymore.
Shut up!
All right.
I need a nice paper cut and some lemon squeeze in it. Can you handle that for me, pal?
Well, while you're getting worked up, maybe we should just jump into the fact that J.J. Abrams and his son Henry are going to write a Spider-Man comic.
Oh my God! Here, wait. You want the announcement?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, here it is. And they stretched it out.
Hi, I'm JJ.
And I'm Henry.
Henry's very nervous.
I am so nervous right now.
You're rich.
We have written a Spider-Man comic book.
It's coming out in September. It's a limited series. Sarah Pichelli, the wonderful artist, is working on this with us.
She's a genius.
It's incredible.
And we're really excited. There's a crazy new villain named Cadaverous that we can't wait for you to meet. But
is it a
in
rebooted
September,
franchise of
Marvel,
a movie?
Been talking to them for a long time about this, so very excited to be doing it, and especially to be doing it with this gentleman.
It's just so exciting. I can't believe it's happening.
Your dad is rich.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know why I thanked them.
Well, because they're great.
They're great. You're great.
See you soon.
Bye.
He meant to thank his dad. Thanks, Dad, for being really rich and popular so that your talentless son can do something.
The kid's in college right now, man. This is, it's an opportunity.
I don't know if he's talentless, but look, it's like nepotism to the nth degree right now. And they look like each other, like clones. Maybe it's Shmeev. J.J. Abrams' son was conceived of midichlorians and bad reboots. He was patched together in like some ancient cinema in Timbuktu.
All right,
I feel better now.
Good. I'm glad you got that off your chest.
I did.
The Abrams are going to be doing a 5-part series, and it's going to feature this new villain, Cadaverous, and causing problems with Spider-Man, and Peter Parker.
The script that wouldn't die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to take a look at it and see, see if it's going to work out.
Any shot of J.J. Abrams coming on the show, or maybe even Marvel or Disney for that matter. I think I've just muddied the water for us, Brian.
Oh, good job,
our
Dave.
guest is having second thoughts.
Yeah. Daniel,
Shmeev.
The doors are locked from the inside, buddy. What's next?
Oh, dear God, don't die on me. Don't die
God.
on
All right.
me.
So, I thought this was pretty cool. Doctor Who's The End of Time is going to be released in theaters. Let's see. I'm trying to find the date here.
No,
via Fathom Events. What?
the re-release of Endgame. I think this is like taking petty to a new degree, though. I mean, I know we kind of sort of touched on it last week.
We'll get there in a second. Let me just finish talking about this. So
it's going to happen, yeah.
Wednesday, August 7th at 7 p.m. It's in conjunction with the 10th anniversary of...
Just find Crew to Who on Facebook and invite yourself to what they're doing, because they're going. We know.
But this is the 10th anniversary of David Tennant's final Who season. So
join Crew to Who.
Yeah. All right. You want to talk about Endgame.
I want to move on about Endgame.
That's fine. So next week they are adding a deleted scene, some extra like spoiler scenes or whatever, and special surprises to the end of Avengers Endgame. Yeah. Probably making the runtime 4 hours and 23 minutes.
Something like that. Yes, right.
So I mean, are you excited to go see it?
No.
Okay, why not?
No. A, it's going to be too goddamn long. All right, but B, this is it's they just want to take down Avatar, and even though I hate that stupid movie, to re-release it to make an extra $45 million just so you can topple Cameron, the dude can topple himself because he's got, 4 more freaking Avatars coming out? He's got Avatar the Turd 2, Avatar the Turd 3. No, just... Why do they have to dirty themselves? Don't sully yourselves by getting in the sewer with James Cameron and trying to raise an extra $45 million. Just start a GoFundMe page, okay?
Do you think Marvel needs to start a GoFundMe?
Apparently they really need money.
Listeners, I apologize. Clearly we're off the rails tonight.
Well, we're not, though. Honestly, there are parts of it that I think might be cool because it's... You know, they've already said that Spider-Man Far From Home will be like the end of Phase 4, and there's supposed to be some stuff they're adding that'll make Spider-Man a little more better for you.
Okay, facilitate the transition.
Ooh, big words. I like that. A little more better for you is really bad English, yes.
Right.
But I think it's really just like a cash grab just so they can get that $45 million. And technically, because they're adding on to the movie, it's not the same movie. So they should get rebooted back to zero, and whatever money they drag in on this one doesn't get added to the previous total. I'm starting a change.org petition for this right after the show.
Oh, God, Dave. I mean, look,
I'm hot.
Seriously, Dave, I think that they would have made the $45 million anyway. Right, they're way under the time frame that Avatar was in theaters. They've got plenty of time to make up $45 million. And I, for one, like to go watch these movies twice in the theaters if I can, for the specifically the MCU. And I've only got to see this one once.
Right,
you know?
Myself as well. But I mean, and most of America, because nobody wants to spend 3.5 hours in the theater.
Sometimes you need a little me time. Moving on. Did you want to talk about this Harry Potter Wizards Unite thing?
I did. All right. So I actually went and exercised tonight, Brian.
Uh-oh.
Well, I downloaded the app and I walked down to the end of the block and back. So it's Pokemon Go, but Wizards.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, it's almost exactly like it, except that you can collect randomly ingredients for stuff will pop up, and then you just you do spells kind of like instead of just trying to throw the Pokeball, you gotta. It gives you like little diagrams you got to draw real quick.
Right.
Oculo Reparo. So,
no, it's cool.
And I don't know. I mean, the Pokemon Go craze has obviously died down a bit, and I think maybe they've learned a few things because in the startup, it's like, be aware of your surroundings. Are you driving? But look, it looks interesting. There's a few more layers tacked on top of it than there were for Pokemon Go. So I don't know, for all the wizarding nerds out there, it might be pretty cool. I don't know. I enjoyed it for the 20, 30 minutes I played it.
Yeah, and I know our staff photographer, Don Cooper, is playing as well. So, and there's a lot of folks. I see people putting their friends' codes out, and it looks like folks are having a good time.
At first, I was wondering, like, what the hell is this? Like some new hell has been brought upon Earth, and another, platform for Facebooking and tweeting and all that other jazz. But no, it's all for wizarding.
That's true.
So I'm down with that.
All right.
I'm not angry about it, for once.
Well, that's good.
I know.
So you went and saw Toy Story 4.
I did. I went and saw it. It was fun. Somebody was saying it's going to be a tearjerker. I don't know. I don't have a heart, so really, I didn't really feel the tear jerking. I got more teared up when it was 3, when they're all about to die in a fiery inferno at the trash compactor place.
Okay.
That one was more tear jerking. This one was just like, everybody's moving on with their lives. Andy's growed up. Bonnie's growing up. She made a spork, and they teach the spork the lives and how it's like to be a toy. And they had creepy ventriloquist dolls, which actually kind of scarred my 13-year-old son, DJ.
Nice.
He was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
That's funny.
He does not like ventriloquist dummies.
Well, sad enough to say, they're predicting a $120 million opening, and that's soft.
That's bad for a Pixar and a Disney and a Toy Story. I mean, shoot. I mean, that they would have to put it in a underachieving category.
I know.
That's got to sting.
It's kind of crazy. Although Toy Story 3 only made $110 million in 2010.
Well, that's a travesty. They should re-release it and add Toy Story 4 to it, so that way it'd be a 4.5-hour runtime, and then maybe they could dethrone Avengers Endgame.
Oh, jeez.
And then Endgame would have to add like Spider-Man Far From Home to it and have like a 6-hour-long movie. And then topple Toy Story. And then Cameron, he's going to just combine Avatar 1 and 2.
Clearly, it's time to go to break, Dave.
Clearly.
Yes.
I'm not letting it go, Brian. Take us to break.
All right, guys. When we get back, we will have our in-studio guest, Mr. Daniel Jose Older. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Prosay Productions is a leading independent publisher on the cutting edge of new pulp and genre fiction today. At Prosay Productions, you'll find fiction featuring fast-paced action and adventure, larger-than-life protagonists, over-the-top characters, and tight yet extravagant plots. Prosay specializes in prose books, anthologies, audiobooks, and more. Go to prose-press.com to find our monthly release schedule and more info about our great titles. Prosay Productions is your first-rate publisher of new pulp fiction today.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Showcase Comic-Con is this July 6th at the Harbor Center in Slidell. Ghostbusters artist Tim Lottie, Transformers artist Robbie Musso, and filmmaker Jonathan Robinson will be there. We'll have panels to attend and a costume contest for kids and adults, plus over 13,000 square feet of vendors with your favorite games, comics, toys, art, and collectibles. Admission for Showcase Comic-Con is only $10, and kids 12 and under enter for free with a paid adult. Check out showcasecomiccon.com for tickets and info.
My name is Optimus Prime, and you are listening to
Starscream here, and you are listening to The Week in Geek. Call me Lord.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, along with
Brian Held.
Brian, we have someone special who's still in the studio. We didn't chase him off.
I know, yes. Sitting with us tonight is New York Times bestselling author, Mr. Daniel Jose Older. How are you, sir?
I'm great. What's going on, you guys?
Oh, man, dude. You know, we're so happy for you to be here.
I'm happy to be.
Oh, yeah. And a big shout out to Claudia Gray for introducing us and getting you in here.
She is amazing.
Yeah, so, of course, author, but I wanted to start before 2015, you were a paramedic.
Indeed, I was.
And for a long time, and had tons of stories. Tell me about that experience.
It was amazing. I'm always amazed that more writers aren't paramedics before we start being writers, because you learn so much about the world. You're able to pay your rent. You know, you find out terrible things about people and amazing things about people, and you learn about the city. I mean, I did it for a decade, and I loved it, and I'm also really glad to not be doing it anymore.
All right.
Because people are covered in pee a lot, and then you have to take them to. Am I allowed to say that? Well,
Yes.
I did. So yeah, it's a messy job. It's an amazing job, and one thing that you find out too is that people call 911 for all kinds of reasons that are not emergencies. Like, I have an earache for the past 12 years. And you're like, wait, whoa, okay, here we go. And then you just kind of roll with it, you know, and then a kid gets shot and then you're like on, right?
Yeah.
So it really is like one of the biggest challenges was jumping back and forth between those two extremes constantly.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, I have some friends who are EMTs, right? And they do tell me stories, right? You guys are definitely good storytellers for all the crazy stuff that you see. But
Absolutely.
it is such a demanding job, and
Yeah.
you work a lot of OT to getting that stuff done. And I know people who are aspiring authors, you know, spend a lot of their free time writing. So, like, how'd you make that transition? Where did you find the time to get it done?
First of all, I literally would write in the stretcher in the back of the ambulance sometimes. Like I would intentionally get really, really quiet, you know, shifts and go out to the top of the Bronx. I remember I had one that was a midnight to noon shift. And for some reason it was in a suburban part of the Bronx that didn't have that much happening. And so I would just write, you know, I would write on the ambulance. Now, a lot of times I would not be working a quiet shift, and I would go home and, you know, with 3 days on and 4 days off, I would write in those 4 days. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you did have long periods where you could kind of focus on that. And your first book, was it the Half Resurrection Blues? Was it?
Half Resurrection Blues is my first novel. I did write a collection of short stories called Salsa Nocturna that's in that same world that came out in 2012 from a small press.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So small press, you kind of got your feet wet.
Exactly.
And then was it Delray that picked you up for this?
No, it was Ace Rock Books.
Okay.
So and they did the whole Bone Street Rumba series, which includes Salsa Nocturna. Now they're all available together. And yeah, it's Half Resurrection Blues, Midnight Taxi Tango, Battle Hill Bolero.
All right. And what's the setting on that? What's that
So
about?
basically that's it's about Carlos de la Cruz, who's half dead and half alive, and because of that he gets sent by the Council of the Dead to deal with all the kind of petty BS and gigantic things that are going wrong in the world. And he's pretty much like Death's cleanup man because he passes, right? He looks alive. He's kind of alive. He has a body. So all the spirits are like, all right, go handle this situation or whatever. And then he finds that there's another half dead person in the world, and she's hot.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, hey, what's your deal? But he also accidentally killed her brother. So then that's complicated.
Awkward.
And then they send him to kill her, which is also complicated. And
Yeah.
so all these things are going on. And eventually it's a gigantic war in a cemetery in Brooklyn between different factions of the dead.
So were you balancing like writing this and getting it published? Were you still a paramedic at that time and trying to get it all sorted out?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, all of that.
Now, I mean, like when the first book comes out, are you at a point where you can be like, all right, I'm done being a paramedic. I can focus full time on writing?
I will tell you, I was literally with a patient when I found out that the book was going to get published by Penguin.
Yeah.
Like it was a low key situation. Obviously he wasn't dying. He was fine. It was one of those like earache for 12 years type deals.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, I got an email. Oh! And he's like, what happened? I was like, I have a book coming out from Penguin. And he was like, oh, dude. And I was like, oh my God. And, you know, in the back of the ambulance.
Right.
In Manhattan. It was amazing. But no, it did take a little while to transition. And in the meantime, I got an MFA to kind of make sure I could teach on the side while my career was taking off. So,
All right.
you know, it wasn't a backup plan, but it was kind of a stabilizing plan. And a lot of things happened at once. I was plugging away at it for like a good chunk of years. Shadow Shaper was the first book I wrote. And
Okay.
it took a couple years for that to get picked up. And so, yeah, everything kind of culminated and snowballed. So 2015, Half Resurrection Blues and Shadow Shaper both came out.
Okay.
And that launched kind of my whole career.
All right, that's cool. Now, where does Coming Down Here fit into the equation?
Man, I've been thinking about coming down here since I was 18 years old. I stopped by here on the way to California when I graduated from high school. I drove across country like a hippie.
Yeah.
And not as a hippie, but like a hippie.
Right.
And I stopped here and I was like, oh, wow. I was dead set on San Francisco, but I really came close to not making it there because I love this place so much. I've been coming back ever since, and I've been feeling the pull to move here ever since. So it took me 20 years exactly.
Okay.
But here I am.
Oh, man, look, New Orleans will get in your soul, man.
It did. It did. It never let go. And I'm
That's
so
cool.
happy to be here. I love it here.
Now, one of the big books that you got, and this is awesome, is Star Wars Last Shot.
Yes.
Right? And that is set up as sort of a prequel to Solo, a Star Wars story, right?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of all around it. There's some parts that take place right before it, some parts that take place right after it, and some parts that take place after Return of the Jedi.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so is it like a series of short stories?
No, it's that the past kind of comes up to haunt the present, and they have to deal with stuff that they left undealt with back then, both of them collectively, because, it's Lando and Han, right? And they both left some things, some loose ends that then ended up.
That doesn't sound like them at all.
I know, right? Shocking and appalling and out of character.
Right.
And so the past actually comes back to haunt Lando because of something that Han neglected to really finish. And so then Lando shows up at Han's doorstep in the post-Return of the Jedi era and breaks his nose. And then that sets off everything, and they go off on an adventure together. So throughout, we're finding out stuff about what happened and why this whole situation.
Sounds like Fear and Loathing in Coruscant.
That's
Nice.
exactly what it is. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we get Sana Staros in there, we get Maz, we get a lot of our favorites, Chewie, of course, along for a ride. There's a Ewok hacker.
Get out.
Yes, she is the greatest hacker in the world, and they take her along with them. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot going on.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you want to? Yeah. All right. So, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. We got to satisfy our sponsors, and when we come back, we're gonna dig further into Star Wars Last Shot and other projects that you're working on. So, guys, stay tuned. You're listening to the Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
Showcase Comic-Con is this July 6th at the Harbor Center in Slidell. Ghostbusters artist Tim Lottie, Transformers artist Robbie Musso, and filmmaker Jonathan Robinson will be there. We'll have panels to attend and a costume contest for kids and adults, plus over 13,000 square feet of vendors with your favorite games, comics, toys, art, and collectibles. Admission for Showcase Comic-Con is only $10, and kids 12 and under enter for free with a paid adult. Check out ShowcaseComicCon.com for tickets and info.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
This is Captain Rex, troopers, and you're listening to The Week in Geek. Now move out!
Welcome back into The Week in Geek. This is your host, D Squared, along with
Brian Held.
Brian Held, I guess still has not run away. It's like a Christmas miracle.
I've considered it a couple times.
Yep.
I'm
You're
still
a
here.
wise man.
All right, Mr. Daniel Jose Older.
That's
Thanks.
my name.
Yes. All right, so we were talking about Star Wars Last Shot, and it begs the question. You are stepping into this established universe with working around canon movie material. Like how much freedom that do you get, or is it like the mouse is over your shoulder every step of the way?
That's what I thought it was going to be. As it turns out, you get way more freedom than you ever would have imagined.
Really?
Because I went into it like, look, the only reason I'm doing this is because it's Star Wars, and I've been a Star Wars nerd since I was born. born.
Right.
Return of the Jedi was the first movie I saw in a movie theater. Me too. And it was a wrap. After that, it was over, right? Like, that's it. So, I was just like, I'll do it, but it's going to be torture. But then I went, and they gave me a very, very loose idea of what they wanted. And then I came in and presented an entire outline for them, and then proceeded to just, like, prepare myself for, to get bombarded with notes. And they were like, you could make up some planets. And I was like, excuse me?
Score.
Yeah.
Right.
They were like, you should just, you don't want the galaxy to feel small. Like, we've been to Endor. I don't remember which planet I threw in there that was known, but they were like, yeah, we've already been there. Like, make up a new planet. I was like, you want me to make up a Star Wars planet? I made up like 18.
Nice.
I was just like, well, in that case,
right,
new aliens, new planets, new languages. I just went to town. And that's all canon. So I just had a blast. I mean, yeah, they never, and there's times, yes, when they will come in, and especially when there's a movie in production, there can be nightmare scenarios where they will switch something up, so it does happen. In my case, it didn't, and I had a blast.
No, that's cool. Yeah, because I know Claudia told me that, she wrote some Star Destroyer or something being in some part of the galaxy, and they're like, nope, it's not there.
Nope, it's not there. Right. Yeah, they'll pull entire characters in the middle of it. It can be a nightmare, but it wasn't.
Yeah. All right. Well, so, I mean... But how much, like, personally, how much freedom do you have? Like, even though that they're not constraining you, right? You still have these characters that have this long established backstory.
Yeah,
like peer pressure from people you've never met before.
Right,
Going, if I do something to Han,
right,
somebody's gonna be, because there's still people pissed about him potentially maybe having slept around on Leia
for Rey,
for
right?
Rey, because they're still talking about the parentage of Rey, and people lost their minds.
The whole thing is someone's always going to be mad about something.
Amen. He already gets it.
Yeah, and you go in knowing that. You know what I mean? So my thing is, like, can I be as true to the characters as I can be? And I also, that, they're not in there changing major plot points for me, but that there's a whole team of people checking this over and making sure. But also, we've had these characters in our heads our whole lives, right?
Right.
So I knew, I know those voices. I played with the action figures as a kid. So, those voices have been in my head my whole life. So, writing their voice felt very natural and true and fun. And the voice of Star Wars, which is, I think we love it because it is so multifaceted, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, it's a Western, it's a noir, it's a thriller, it's all those things at once. And I knew if I could, imbue the book with all of those voices and make them feel cohesive, that was going to be a Star Wars book. And people were still going to be mad. And they were. If you look at the Goodreads page, it is abuse. It is people talking about
talk amongst yourselves.
Folks going into ovens and death threats and all. Man, people are mad on that. Yeah, I mean, I chuckle, but it's a mess. God forbid you write about people in Star Wars that other people aren't used to seeing in Star Wars. It's a whole controversy. So I know I did right by Star Wars. I know that those characters are who they're supposed to be, and
That's cool.
And I love that book.
Yeah,
it's always fascinating to see what happens.
Now, we just had a celebration not a lot long ago, and you were there, right?
I was there to announce a new project, which I can say almost nothing about except the name of.
Oh, well, what's the name of it?
The name is Project Luminous, and it is me and 4 other really amazing Star Wars writers, and that's all I can say.
Okay.
Claudia's working on it.
Luminous. It's going to shed light on stuff.
Yes. That's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Justina Ireland, Kevin Scott, and Charles Sewell, who does the comics.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a A-team of Star Wars writers, and it's going to be amazing, and that's all I can say.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But I'm very excited about it.
Oh, bad.
Yes.
And as you should be. Now, was that your first celebration?
Yes.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I want to do it all the time. It was so much fun. It was like Comic-Con, but all Star Wars, which is all I'm doing at Comic-Con anyway. So, it was so much fun.
All right. That's cool.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, now, did you met some of the good fans, I'm assuming?
Oh, everyone was super amazing.
Yeah.
Look, Star Wars fans are the best fans in the world. The people that are threatening everyone on Goodreads it's probably like 5 people with 8,000 accounts. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a troll farm. I don't put any to me, that doesn't represent Star Wars. I doubt they even watch the movies. But the Star Wars fans, the real fandom is some of the greatest people ever. And they're just people coming up to me and just thanking me for the book, and it was just so overwhelmingly wonderful.
On behalf of all the aspiring nerd Star Wars authors out there, I mean, how did you get into the Star Wars thing. I mean, how did that fall in your lap, or how did you pursue that, or I mean, how does that happen?
I'm gonna say it was a good thing I had an agent, because when that did happen, I was just like, I will pay you to write the book. Like, don't, you don't have to. And then my agent was like, just sit over there. Like, look, I don't know exactly how it happened. I'm sure I told him at one point to just let them know that I wanted to. The first thing I wrote for Star Wars was part of the From a Certain Point of View collection.
Okay.
So they approached me about writing a short story for that, which was on the 40th anniversary of A New Hope. And I wrote a story from the point of view of one of the stormtroopers on Tatooine.
Nice.
And basically in the form of one of the incident reports that I used to fill out as a paramedic.
Nice.
Get out.
Yeah,
That's
and I was
brilliant.
like, you know what? Like, I'm sure stormtroopers and the Empire has lots of
Oh
BS
my God,
bureaucracy.
I am sure they are like layers
Can you imagine?
and layers of
right,
red tape.
like, God forbid anybody like jack something up, then they got to fill out forms for the rest of their lives. Like, you know,
It's like Star Wars clerks somewhere out there.
Exactly. Yes. So, that seemed like a perfect format for a poor stormtrooper to have to deal with all this nonsense. And he's obsessed with dewbacks, which I was also, that was autobiographical. And so he basically ends up riding a dewback into the sunset.
So you weren't upset when the giant dewback just started walking across the screen in the remakes?
I mean, I don't want to talk about that. Quite frankly. But I do love dewbacks, and so did this character. And I got to bring him into a part of Last Shot.
Get out.
Because Last Shot jumps back and forth in time.
Do you ever do any role playing, like Star Wars role playing? So, like, I used to do that, and I can't tell you how many of these freaking books I've read where I can tell you some of these obscure ass races,
Right.
and I mean it's ridiculous the amount of information I had in my head.
No, totally. And yeah, I don't, but when I write, I do. If you were to see me writing and I didn't know you were there, you would see me doing all kinds of really ridiculous things. And, I do choreograph like the scenes and try to act them out while I'm there. And yeah.
Tell me you have action figures when you get choreograph it out.
I mean, no, but I do go pew, pew, pew.
Nice.
Pew, pew. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I hope it's like the old school Star Wars figures that have like the vinyl capes,
Right? And no joints whatsoever.
Right,
They
none
just
whatsoever.
lift your arm. Yes.
No, sir. I didn't see you play with your dolls again, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord! All right,
No, it's good. All right. Well, there's one thing I do want to get to, but before I get there, you have the Shadow Shaper series. We didn't talk about that.
Yes. So that's my young adult series called the Shadow Shaper Cipher. It's about a girl named Sierra Santiago who lives in Brooklyn, New York. She's a mural painter, and she finds out she's part of this magical legacy of people who can bring art to life by putting spirits into it and then go around and whoop bad guys' asses. And the bad guy is this deranged Columbia anthropology professor who's trying to take over shadow shaping and become the top dog shadow shaper by killing all the other shadow shapers. So Sierra has to stop him. And the third and final book in that series comes out in January.
Oh, nice.
I also have a series, middle grade series that ends up in New Orleans.
Really?
Called the Dactyl Hill Squad, and it's about a bunch of kids during the Civil War era who ride around on dinosaurs.
Nice.
And of course they come down here. So
again?
it's yeah. You didn't know about the dinosaurs during the Civil
I was
War?
not aware of that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's historical fantasy, so I'm allowed to do whatever I want. And I was researching this institution called the Colored Orphan Asylum, which was in Manhattan in the 1860s, which was burnt down during the Civil War draft riots in 1863. And I found this little tiny note about a Cuban girl, and I was like, I'm Cuban. Wait, we were there? Like that moment, it was so profound. And I was like, what if she escaped? And then I was like, what if she could ride a pterodactyl? And then I wrote a whole series.
I want to see the inside of your mind, how you make that logical.
I mean, it seems like
and she wrote a pterodactyl.
Look, and I mean, right now there's a video game online on the Scholastic website where you can ride a pterodactyl through the 1863 streets of New York City.
Wow!
Because I asked myself that question, which is so cool. So anyway, it's called Dactyl Hill Squad.
Stuff to do after this show now. Because of this guy.
You're welcome.
Trying to help you all out.
The
Dactyl Hill Squad, and in book 2, which just came out, they end up in New Orleans.
Okay.
And in book 3, they're in New Orleans for a while. That comes out next year. And so, yeah, it's a historical fantasy, but there's a whole section in the back that explains what's true and what's not, including that there were no dinosaurs during the Civil War in bold face, because I know some angry parent is going to be like,
oh God,
right? My kid, kids don't think that's true, but parents think that their kids will think it. So I had to put that in.
Jeez, Mom.
But there's lots of historical info in there that's very helpful.
Reader warning.
Yes.
Dinosaur. It's like, yeah. I get it. All right. So one of the things we definitely have to touch on is, we talked about it before the show, is this Writers Collective thing. Tell me what's going on with this.
Yeah, so we're opening up a Writers Retreat Center, actually. It's out in Slidell. It's on the water. It's beautiful. It's in the bayou, and it's called The Launch. And it's basically an open space where folks can come and create projects. There's a baby grand piano there. There's rooms with en-suite bathrooms. It's, like I said, right on the water. There's a beautiful porch. It's just a place to create. You can find more info about it at thelaunchretreat.net. And it's opening July 1st. So I literally was there helping paint all day and getting things together. It's a beautiful space. And I'm just really excited, just to host people to come down and create projects.
So basically, any sort of creative, be it painter or writer or whatever, can just contact you or go through this website.
Yeah, go through the website. You can sign up. It's basically like Airbnb for creatives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
How much room is there? I mean, how many people can be there at one time?
Basically a bunch, because it's a whole house. There's 3 bedrooms, but there's, air mattresses and space for lots of people. It's a fairly large house, and we're probably going to open up more space as we go. But right now, there's two of the bedrooms are available that you can just get privately, and then if you want to get the whole house, there's a 3rd bedroom comes with it. Dang. There's an elevator. It's a nice spot.
Wow.
Come through. thelaunchretreat.net.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, I read stories about, like, I guess in the 1800s, right, where writers would go to these sort of retreats
and or have dinosaurs there.
No.
Yes,
but they would have places to go to create, or get sponsors or whatever to bring them in. And so
that's where Frankenstein came from, right? Like sci-fi, came out of that whole mess where they were all having sex in the thing. And
wait, what? I missed this story.
You didn't know about that?
There's apparently a lot of things I don't know. Pterodactyls were alive during the Civil War, and Mary Shelley was doing what? Having a sex retreat?
I mean, it was a bunch of writers, and there was some shenanigans, and modern science fiction was born.
I've got so much stuff to research after the show now.
I come to help out.
Yeah,
I just do what I can.
I like this guy.
Yes, I'm just here to help.
Dave, that's why we exist, is to learn new things.
Look, Mary Shelley was badass.
Apparently, man.
I'm just going to say that. She invented sci-fi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we are.
All right. Well, Daniel, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show tonight.
I'm speechless.
It's my pleasure.
Yep. He's not very often speechless. You can't shut him up.
I do what I can. I do what I can.
So thank you for that.
I had a lot of fun.
So how do folks find you out on the net? All the social media links.
Sure. My website is basically myname.net, danieljoseolder.net. That's where you can find links to all my books. I have 3 series out now, and Last Shot. My next book is called The Book of Lost Saints, which comes out in November. It's narrated by the spirit of a woman who disappeared during the Cuban Revolution and came back to New Jersey. And that's coming out soon. So, yeah, danieljoseolder.net. And then I'm on Twitter. I talk a lot of trash on Twitter. I'm at DJ Older. Beware.
Yeah.
If you follow me. But yes, that's where you can find out what I'm up to.
Fantastic, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
All right, gang. When we get back, we're going to close out the show as we always do with This Week in Geek History. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at W&Q's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Showcase Comic-Con is this July 6th at the Harbor Center in Slidell. Ghostbusters artist Tim Lottie, Transformers artist Robbie Musso, and filmmaker Jonathan Robinson will be there. We'll have panels to attend and a costume contest for kids and adults, plus over 13,000 square feet of vendors with your favorite games, comics, toys, art, and collectibles. Admission for Showcase Comic-Con is only $10, and kids 12 and under enter for free with a paid adult. Check out ShowcaseComicCon.com for tickets and info.
Mata Hari, Agent H21 is a spy fiction short story anthology about the famous dancer, seductress, and spy from World War I. Mata Hari, Agent H21, published by Pro Se Productions, has 7 rip-roaring adventure tales about the world-famous super spy that features her battling her enemies by using any weapons at her disposal. Mata Hari, Agent H21 is available for purchase in ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Welcome back to the Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. Like them on Facebook at The Week in Geek Radio Show. Here are your hosts, D Squared and Brian Held.
I'll jump in when you like.
Welcome back into the Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. As always, we want to strongly urge you to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Twig Radio, and there's a lot of T's, and the Instagrams, The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, if you miss any part of tonight's show or you want to catch your favorite part again, you can always find us on Spreaker.com or download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, the iHeartRadio app,
and your mama's house.
All right, Dave, real quick. We mentioned earlier in the beginning of the show that we had tickets to give away for the Consortium of Genius.
Yes, and we totally forgot to give them away.
We totally forgot to get them away. So what we'll do is we'll do that via social media when I get home.
Wow. So, just like you just heard us say, on Twitter at Twig Radio, The Week in Geek. And
yeah, all that good stuff.
Now.
This Week in Geek History.
We're sending you back to the future! Yes! Oh my God!
This Week in Geek History is brought to you by Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, read by Brian Held. Available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. This Week in Geek History.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
All right, so before I'm going to start with my list, Daniel had mentioned to us about Mary Shelley, right?
Yes, I know you did research during the break.
We did,
So
absolutely. And it was in the June of 1816 that she was on a writer's retreat. And it's the circumstance that gave birth to Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein read like something from a Gothic story in themselves. Yes. And then Lord Byron made a suggestion one evening as candlelight flickered within the house and the lightning flashed across the surface of the lake outside, that those present should turn their hands to the writing of ghost stories.
Should turn there. That's flower
You like that?
language. I like that.
It was a casual ploy to while away a few hours in the atmosphere of delicious fear, but it resulted in 2 iconic tales: Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a story of scientific transgression and a cautionary warning about the need to take responsibility for one's actions, and John Polidori's The Vampire, a tale which influenced Bram Stoker's novel Dracula.
Man. I'm also told that she lost her virginity on her mother's gravestone.
Oh,
but I can't confirm that. That would take another bit of research to do.
What kind of sword research do you do, man?
I am going to go back in time.
Like I said, I can't confirm it. It's a possibility.
Oh, Mary Shelley. All right. All right.
Man, I'm sad that none of the items that I picked for this week Geek History.
They will not live
You can't
up
beat
to
that.
that.
You can't beat that.
Pale in comparison. All right, you ready?
I'm glad I'm here.
June 17th, 1983. Sees the release of Superman 3, which included Richard Pryor as that computer hacker guy.
There was nothing on Mary Shelley.
Nope. Nice try.
So is he as good as an Ewok slicer?
Nobody is as good as an Ewok slicer.
I don't know. He got, millions of dollars from
He did. That movie was such... Look, that movie, as bad as it was, is probably better than Man of Steel and all the other crap.
Better than Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, and all the stuff they tried to force feed us.
Right. Now, I put this one in here because of our previous discussions at Top Nerd News, June 18th, 2010. sees the release of Toy Story 3 in the USA. So 9 years.
It's been 9 years since the 3 came out?
Yeah.
Damn. Where have our lives gone?
Doing a radio show,
6
Dave.
of those years, right? 6 of those years have been on the radio.
Yes. All right, next item on my list, June 19th, 2001. Neil Gaiman publishes his novel American Gods, about gods and mythological beings, which, man, I need to get to season 2. I haven't watched it yet.
Well, you're one season ahead of me.
Really?
I haven't got a chance to watch any of it.
But have y'all read there's a comic spinoff that takes place here.
The Anansi Boys?
House of Whispers.
Oh, no?
No,
Really?
it's a comic book. It's part of Vertigo. Nalo Hopkins writes it. She's one of the great sci-fi writers of our time, fantasy writers. And it's some of the characters from from Sandman. Not bad.
Okay.
Take it back. Neil Gaiman.
Well, still, freaking, I didn't put this in Top Nerd News, though, but Vertigo's, kaput.
Dissolving. I know. Yeah. What's up with that?
I mean,
who let that happen?
DC. I mean, they can't do anything right except cartoon movies. That's the only thing they're good at. Cartoon movies.
Don't talk too bad about them. We got DC guests next week.
Or do you? I do want to say they're doing a new line of YA and middle grade stuff, comics, and they're good. They're really good. I've read some of them, and they're great.
We're going to talk all about them next week.
Oh, cool.
We are.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We can't even tease it right now since we're obviously hinting
Who
around
you got?
it.
Who you got?
We're going to, okay, so next.
Do it now!
Our guest next week is Cami Garcia,
Oh,
Elise
I know
Arden,
Cami.
and Gabriel Piccolo.
Elise. Yeah,
and
nice.
they have a new graphic novel release.
They do.
Teen Titans Raven. It's going to be available on July 2nd.
That's super cool.
So,
There we go.
yeah.
All
So
right.
they're our guests next week. All right, let's see. Next item on my list is June 20th, 1963. The red telephone linking the heads of state of the Soviet Union and the United States is established following the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Wow.
So,
And it exploded.
yes.
Thank God it did explode. It would be a brave new weird world.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of stuff that I go nuts over. It's like the alternate history kind of stuff.
Right.
One little thing changes and just that domino effect.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Did you see Chernobyl?
No, I haven't. Look, I got to watch it. Like
I'm in the middle of it. That's a show.
Yeah, no, everything I've heard is just gangbusters about it.
Yeah.
Like even the Russians are pissed.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how you
they're
know
doing
they
their
did
own
something
You
right.
know you've done something good. Like,
right.
we thought we had all that stuff swept under the rug. HBO found it out.
All right, this one's kind of interesting. June 21st, 1979. Sony announces the Walkman tape player to the public in Japan.
Wow.
And what's funny is that before it was released, the press lampooned it, right? And they thought it was like,
Why would you want this?
why would someone buy this if you can't record with it? Because
who wants to walk around listening to music?
Portable media. Ridiculous.
I know.
Silly hippies.
But yeah, they let's see, they pushed it out to celebrities and stuff in the media, got it all on it there, and they eventually sold 50 million.
My first Walkman wasn't a Walkman; it was a knockoff from Sears.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I only forgot it was like Stuntman or something stupid like that.
Right. And of course, Walkman is in the Oxford English Dictionary as a term synonymous with a cassette player.
Wow.
And brought back to life by Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
They saw a resurgence. They really
They did.
It's amazing.
All right. Last item on my list.
My son had the tape for the album from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's like, "What do I play it on?" I'm like, a tape player? What's that? I'm
What's
like,
that,
Jesus,
right?
Mary and Joseph, I failed you, son.
Call somebody on the rotary phone to get some help on that. Oh, jeez.
God. All right.
All
Sorry.
right. That's cool. June 22nd, 1979. The software company Infocom is founded by a group of programmers from the Dynamic Modeling Group at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Who the hell are they?
Infocom did the Zork series, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Okay. I don't know. It was like InfoWars or some crap.
No politics, Dave.
I know, but I just never done it. Whatever. Zork.
Yeah, no. Do you remember
No.
Zork? Oh, dude.
I remember the Snorks.
No.
That was a good. That was the cheap.
That was the
aquatic
ripoff of
Smurfs. The aquatic
Smurfs underwater. What?
Who was
one woman?
Who was the author who used to be around here? He passed away. sci-fi author. He used to go to all the schools. This is years ago. I can't remember his name, but he wrote one. Because there were Zork novels, right? There were some Choose Your Own Adventure Zork books.
It was sci-fi?
No, more fantasy. But the Zork game that came out was a text-based game.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like you round a corner and an orc stabs you.
Well, yeah, kind of like,
you turn left or right.
You're
Yes or
standing
no.
in a field. There's a house in the distance. There's a mailbox.
I hated the text version of friggin' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I could never get out of the room to start it. I could never get out the room.
Right.
And then they had the Leather Goddesses of Phobos was one of the other games they made.
Did Mary Shelley make that?
No. All right, birthdays real quick. On the 18th, Richard Madden. He's in Rob Stark. On the 19th, Aidan Turner. He was Being Human. He was Killy in the Hobbit movies. On the 20th, Nicole Kidman. On the 21st, Chris Pratt. 22nd, Tim Russ. And on the 23rd,
I'm playing
Josh
Jurassic
Whedon.
Park for Chris Pratt, but really our guest.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, guys.
Appropriate.
Till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL.
Walton and Johnson, making mornings great on News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM, New Orleans. An iHeart radio station.